Good morning, everybody. Did I see the Moogles are coming? So according to the MMO spreadsheet of Epic Nerdiness, so the next Moogle event was going to begin the 24th of April, and it was going to be called the Hunt for Mendacity. All right, now let's go check it out. The Hunt for Mendacity, April 24th. Huh? So for anybody that has not followed these, what's a Moogle Tomestone event? For anybody that hasn't tried a Moogle Tomestone event, these launch 29 days before a patch. If we hop over here and we check out my MMO spreadsheet of Epic Nerdiness, this will be 29 days before my predicted date for 6.4, which has not been confirmed, of May 23rd. If I had to predict a secondary date, it would be May 30th, but I think the Moogle Tomestone event pretty much nails that in. The only reason I thought it might push to the 30th is the live letter was about a week later than I had predicted. As we look at the different Moogle Tomestone events, what these are is a hype event. As people come back to the game, they're excited about the upcoming patch. There's a second live letter that's usually 11 days prior to the patch, so we'll get that in the middle of this event. And this gives us a new type of tombstone to gather. This one is called Mendacity. The reason I knew it was called the Hunt for Mendacity, if you ever want to know what the pattern is these tombstones are following the exact same order that our battle tombstones followed throughout history. And so we knew that it would be Mendacity because the one before that was Creation, and the one before that was Verity, and so on. So as we jump through this, you'll get basically... You'll see this little Moogle icon next to everything in the duty finder, and you'll get a varying amount based on the type of content you do. If it's something like PvP, where there's an outcome based, you'll get a little more for winning, a little less for losing, but it's always in there. Now there's a couple of patterns as far as what we get within the Moogle Tomestone event. The first is that we always get a unique, exclusive cosmetic. Many times these do repeat in future Moogle Tomestone events. However, this is the very first time we've ever seen the Porksy earrings. So these Porksy earrings are brand new, never been in-game. They will be unsellable. This will be the only way to get them. There's been some cool stuff from these throughout the years. It's mostly earrings and neckerchiefs, but there's been like a jacket and stuff. After that, we get these stackable, guaranteed portal maps. I would love to see this kind of upgrade to a newer map at some point, but we are still running ostensibly for now. And then there's a way to convert your Moogle Tomestones into MGP should you end up with extras. And over here you'll notice at this point that I've gotten a different color system. Red means that it is exclusive to this event, and green means it's very easy to get. Upcoming, we'll see some yellow things. That means that you can absolutely acquire these at any time in game. They're available, but the Moogle Tomestone event is wildly easier. The base method is not something like just go to the market board or run something unsynced or level up an old beast tribe or something like that. It's usually like rare fates and so on. After this, there's these magic prisms. Those are worthless. There is always something from the Ishgard Restoration Firmament event. This was our Shadowbringers crafting event and allowed us to build a city. These are one of the best ways to make consistent money if you like crafting. In my opinion, it's very simple and straightforward. You can easily jump over here, hop to the firmament, and do a lot of crafting. There's all sorts of titles and achievements and cool stuff locked behind this system. And the currency here is Sky Builder scripts. It kind of just piles up. And you can come over to the exchange, and this stuff is sellable, and sellable for a lot. A lot. There's a couple mounts in here. There's some dances and different cosmetics and minions. And a lot of these command a very high value relative to how many scripts they cost. In theory, the more scripts they cost, the more they go up in price. That's not always the case. Some of these ballroom etiquettes, they command like Alliance raid level prices because I think people assume they come from Alliance raids and they don't know that it's just 1,800 scripts. And those are not a big deal to get. If any of you don't remember how this system works, it's literally just a collectible trade-in unique to this zone. But just like all the other collectibles in the game, where I get this many scripts over here, but this stuff's so low level that like I can guarantee high quality it. And you can see down below, that means it jumps from the 31 listed here up to 63 per. So you get a lot of these. So yes, you can absolutely get it from the Moogle Tomestone event between April 24th and when the patch drops. But you could also just come and get this at any time. After this, we're going to get into some mounts. There's always some mounts. Sometimes they're tied to dungeons and things like that. We've got one from Alamigo with the Predator Identification Key. We've gotten this before. It's been available from this before, but you can also go farm this unsynced anytime you want. Not a big deal. Super cool looking. If it's a mount that you're into, go grab it. After this is your tribals. There's always a couple of tribal mounts. Tribals are very easy to do. I would say the hardest one to do in the game is Sylphs, because they've given us the ability to mount in that area, but it doesn't help you with a lot of those. And that is the first one on deck with the Laurel. Super classic Final Fantasy looking mount. And that comes from the Sylphs. And the other one is the Elps, which comes from the Sahagin there in Lenosha. But these are ARR tribal mounts. Easy, easy, easy. You just knock them out for a couple of weeks and you get a bunch of mounts. But if you really hate doing those and you really want the mounts, they become available through the Moogle Tomestone events. We get like 2 every time from ARR ones there. We also get a pony whistle. This time we are getting the Aethon, which comes from Ifrit Extreme. These are very easy to knock down. You can solo this unbelievably easy. If you get all of them, there's a little quest you can do out in Mordona. Out there on the little ridge there, you can go do a quest with Yoshi P. Very, very cool. It's a fun little quest. And you can get the ultimate pony right here. It's beautiful. And this time, it rotates how often this comes up, but it's come up before. We get Nightmare. Nightmare has a chance of dropping off of a Freet, Titan, or Garuda, but is a lower drop rate. So a lot of people are missing this one. It's a great way to get a guaranteed Nightmare. And from there, we move to the Heavensward mounts. We will be getting the White Lanner this time around, which comes from Bismarck. So if you want to go run Bismarck Extreme, 99 totems, or it'll drop beforehand. And after Bismarck, we have the Demonic. And this one comes from Zervan. Same idea. They're just reskins of the same mount, different colors for different bosses. And each expansion, if you get all of them, you can go do a little quest. And from this one, it's the Firebird quest. After that, we move to the Kamuis, the Stormblood mounts. And the first of these is Reveling. Comes from Susano. And the next one is the Blissful. Next up is when we get into really rare stuff. These are things that a lot of people do not have. The people that do have been around a long time, probably have a healthy number of play hours, or they've been extremely lucky. The first of these is the Ixion Clarion. This is that big, lovely lightning mount. That comes from getting Ixion horns from the Fate, a horse outside. This is the mount. The mount costs 12. So you would have to do this Fate twice. So you would have to deal with going into some Discord or something, finding out when it spawns. At that point, I think it's easier, in my opinion, to get this from the Moogle Tomestone event. There is also the Girabanian plate, which comes from the Heaven on High, and then a Kakiran earring, which comes from the Fate Metal Gear's Revenge 2. From here, we move to some crafting items. The crafting items are very, very, very cheap. First up, we have the floor sofa. This is made by Weaver. We'll get a swag valance. It's lovely. Also made by Weaver. We will get a cookie set made by Culinarian. And then a florist counter made by Alchemist. Our lovely brick oven, which is made by Alchemist. Then this big old tent, which is made by Weaver again. And the last up is the wooden deck made by the Carpenter. Just another way to engage in housing for those of you that have been lucky enough to win the housing lottery at this point. None of these were expensive. I think one thing was like 50K. I think I acquired the entire set, all of them, for under 100. From here, we talk about a cosmetic set, usually tied to a dungeon or old currency or something like that. This is the Swallow's Compass. It is all of the chess pieces. We've had the Swallow's Compass set, the Bone Wicca set before, but it focused on just one of the roles and had all of their parts. And we jump down to the riding maps. These get an asterisk on them because they are literally worthless. So in modern expansions with the bicolor gemstone system, we can upgrade our speed. And this is something that's really helpful if you spend a lot of time on the ground. It makes your ground mounts all the same speed as the motorcycle. But in previous expansions, you could get up to rank 2 speed here. And this was acquirable through the Allied Seals system. And next Moogle Tomestone event, they will have the Lenosha ones. You'll see that at some point I had extra Moogle Tomestones, and so I bought all these. They don't matter. Then we move into Triple Triad cards. We've got the Galecat card, the Vanu card. These are both available from a single Triple Triad trainer. Got some Trial and Dungeon cards as well. There's always a couple. And a couple of minions. One is from Holminster Switch. It was like 30k on the market board, so it shouldn't be that much. Should plummet when this event pops, in case people buy those up with their things thinking that they'll sell them for a profit. And then 500 Centurio Seals for this Succubus. So easy, easy, easy. We've got a couple of Orchestrion scrolls. The first of these is from a dungeon. That's not atypical. Last time was Lost City of Amdapor. This time it's the Twinning and Orthos. And then we've got a couple from your Beast Tribes, which is why if you do your Beast Tribes, you can not just get the mounts that are up above, but you can also get the Orchestrion scrolls. This is good. The Long Fall is also now dropping from Orthos, is what I've been told. And so it's really plummeted in price. So that's everything, guys, from the Hunt for Mendacity. If you want to know when the next one of these is, the next Moogle Tomestone event would take place before patch 6.5. It would be 29 days before, and if we go look up the tomes, we can find out what that is. We can find out what it's called. I predict that to be in October, so if that date holds true, then we're looking at a September time frame for the next Moogle Tomestone event. So well after NA FanFest, going into the final patch of Endwalker. By then we will already know the name of 7.0, so a lot of exciting things coming out. I will see you guys on April 24th.